Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel, guys. And today is a little bit of a different video. So as you can see on the screen right now, the Bedwars 4v4 v4v4 I think v4 v2 tournament, that's a mouthful, has just concluded and been finalized. As you can see, I got a pretty decent placement, 1,109th out of like over 10,000 people playing, so that's pretty good. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about a different thing with the Bedwars tournament. And that is the fact that this tournament was not the greatest at all. There was so many problems with it, ranging from how the tournament was actually originally held, to all the cheaters, to everything that just went on during the tournament, and it was just not good at all. And, yeah, so instead of kind of just rambling on here, I'm just going to go over everything that was wrong with the tournament, and with enough kind of just chitter-chatter in the tournament hall, we're just going to go and jump straight into it with our first topic, and that is cheaters. So first off, I gotta get away with one of the most obvious and one of the most known problems of this entire tournament, and that is the fact that there were many cheaters throughout the entire game. And they would range from blatantly flying bee-hoppers that would fly across the map at light speeds, to closet cheaters that you wouldn't really think are cheating, but they are, and they're just trying to hide it, and anywhere in between. They come in all shapes and sizes, they're like snowflakes. And the thing is with this is it felt like they were in every single game, and that's because most of the time where are, it became a point where it's like if you just felt like someone was cheating, they most likely were. And there are multiple leaderboard players that were cheating, and still multiple leaderboard players that were cheating or using cheaters on their team to boost them up to the leaderboards. And it was happening in so many games, throughout the entire tournament. And the thing is, it's kind of just like there were just so many cheaters that it just felt like you couldn't even play a legit game because of it. And I get like the whole like anti-cheat kind of drama and stuff like that, but it's just a fact where it's just like there's just too many of them that you just literally can't control it. And it's the fact that there were just so many of them that they can't even control it and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there were like some flying people and stuff like that, but it was a lot more like the closet cheating side, and a lot of people that were trying to hide the fact that they were cheating, and they most likely aren't even going to get caught either. And that's the thing about it, it's just like there's really nothing that can be done to kind of stop the closet cheaters and the people that are trying to hide it. And that just became a really big problem, because if you thought that someone was cheating, they most likely were, and even if they weren't cheating, they were probably teaming up with a cheater to boost themselves up on the leaderboards. It just became a massive problem throughout the entire tournament. It is 100% something that just needs to be looked at in the future, and 100% something that I get it's a little bit easier said than done, but it just like it 100% needs to be stopped. And the thing is with all of that is, yeah, that's one of the more obvious problems and stuff like that, but there were a ton more other problems that got wrong in the tournament that I'm going to be talking about next. Okay, so this next topic is about the in-game item shop, you know, the things that you can buy items from in the actual game. And the thing is, you could buy anything in the shop, and you might be thinking to yourself, why would that necessarily be a problem in a Bedwars tournament? Well, it did. Things like obsidian, water, punch bows could all be bought and used, and it just became extremely annoying strategies, especially with obsidian and water, which you could put in your bed defense, and those two combined would make a bed defense pretty much indestructible if you had a full-time defender, and just completely defeated the purpose of the tournament. And since you needed emeralds to get to obsidian, basically it would be a race to see who could get mid first and who could get the emeralds. It was essentially capture the flag, but with extra steps. And this all became a problem when in almost every single Grandmaster bracket game, which is the highest bracket in the tournament, you would see one or even multiple teams with obsidian on their bed, and it would just prolong the games as well, making them longer. So even if you did have the skills and were better than the team that had obsidian, you still had to get diamond pickaxes, most likely like invis potions and magic milk just to be able to have an attempt at breaking their bed, and that just prolonged the game and made it longer and just made it worse for everyone. And things like that shouldn't be able to be bought in the game and should just stay like outside of the tournament. And the thing is, it just doesn't make sense, because in the most recent Skywars tourney, the one that they did a couple months before this back in January, they banned the frog kit from that tournament. So I just don't understand, if they would ban a crucial Skywars kit / item in that, why couldn't they ban items in the Bedwars tournament, which just doesn't make any sense. Like, that is just not even scratching the surface of some of the actual problems that happened, like, with the actual tournament. So this is going to be kind of talking about all of the things that was happening, like, around the actual tournament and how it was hosted. So this is going to be kind of out of control, but just bear with me here. And the first thing I need to talk about is the fact that there's 4 teams of 4 in this. And with this, it's like, I just don't understand, like, why it just became like this. Because in this tournament, you had a chance of getting 8v4'd or even 12v4'd if you were just unlucky enough. And it just created such an unlucky and just RNG based environment, as you could get rushed by no one, or you could be getting rushed by the entire lobby. And I don't understand why we went from just one team versus another, which is how a tournament should be held, to 4 teams of 4 all in the same tournament, which I just don't understand. And also, I don't even understand why Hypixel is just doing team tournaments. Currently, there's been 8 tournaments that Hypixel has held, and only 2 of them have been solo. So I don't understand why everyone's focusing on the teams kind of aspect of this when we're kind of missing the whole solo tournaments. Like, can we get some more solo tournaments love here, please? And the second thing I want to talk about, which kind of goes hand in hand with the last one, is, and it's something that a lot of people actually miss for some reason, and it's the fact of the nick hider system. So basically, when you joined a game, everyone had their nicks hidden in the tab list, and everyone's had their skins hidden. Now, the only problem with this is you could only see names when you load into the game. Now, this is a problem, because if you're a known player and you didn't have MVP++, and you load into a game, everyone would see you and you see that you're a known player, and they would just get targeted. And this even happened to me once time, and I wasn't even that known a player. It just happened when I accidentally joined a game with a couple of my friends. I didn't know that they were in the game, and I couldn't even tell, and I just got completely targeted just because of that. So it kind of goes hand in hand, because if you were a known or good player and you didn't have MVP++, you were put at a significant disadvantage when it came to the tournament. The next thing I want to talk about with all this is the fact with the brackets. And so there were 5 brackets, and it went from starter all the way up to Grandmaster, and it felt like the starter through Diamond were pretty easy, but it felt like as soon as you got to the Master and Grandmaster bracket, that's when it got really, really sweaty, and that's when it just became just a full-on stalemate between people. And when it just becomes a stalemate between 2 teams, if you play in the tournament, you experience this, where you and another team are just constantly fighting, and you just can't seem to win against each other. All it takes is one lucky rush or one lucky bet break to be able to kill the other team and just be able to win the game. And I feel like that just caused a lot more luck to be involved and stuff like that. And also it prolonged the games, which just made things even worse, which I'll talk about a little bit that in the next topic. And it caused a problem, as people in the Grandmaster bracket were searching for people in the starter and lower brackets, because in this tournament they decided to change the fact how if you're in a party and 3 people are Grandmaster and 1 person is starter, it will put the entire party in the starter bracket. I don't know why they changed that. In my opinion, it caused more problems than anything it could have fixed. So Grandmasters were searching for a starter and Diamond people and possibly Golds as well to go into their games and just smurf in there to get more points, get the starter, Gold, Diamond people all the way up to Master and Grandmaster, and then just do the same for other people. And it just caused multiple problems with the bracket system and the point system, and it just caused a complete uproar. So the final mini topic in this kind of segment is the fact that there were 80 games played. And the reason why they implemented this whole games played system was for the fact that if you grinded a lot more than someone else, you would be able to win the really early tournaments, and they wanted to stop that by having a cap on the games played. Well, it didn't really solve that. The thing is with that, it's like all the games were lasting extremely long, and especially in the Master and the Grandmaster games, it was going all the way up into sudden deathmatch and stuff like that. And even if it felt really, really good to win that sudden deathmatch game, it just got repetitive after a while, and it prolonged all of the games. I played almost 11 hours of Bedwars within this 48-hour period that the tournament happened, and I didn't even get to finish all of my games. So I get they're like trying to limit playtime with this, but they aren't really doing it as much as, throughout the past 48 hours, 11 of them have been playing Bedwars. So all in all, this just kind of just concludes that the actual tournament being hosted was just not good at all, and it definitely had an impact on everyone that was playing it. Okay, so for this topic, I'm only going to touch on it briefly, as it's a pretty controversial topic in the Hypixel community in general, and that is the fact that there was some lag in the tournament. And it wasn't even the fact that you were actually lagging in-game. In my opinion, it was actually pretty good. I know some other people that may have experienced some problems with that, but there was definitely some servers being overloaded in the tournament, and it caused different problems than actual in-game server lag. And it caused things like, let's say you were in a party and you were all going into a game. Like, most of the time, especially during the start of the tournament, your entire party wouldn't even be warped into the game. And this caused a problem when it got even worse, when if you didn't realize that all your party didn't get warped in and got in a game, your entire party would be split onto different teams, and you would basically be having to fight your own party members, which just became an absolute nightmare. And this happened a lot more towards the start of the tournament, but a lot of this happened, and also for some reason, some of my games that didn't even render even counting for a win or a loss. I ended up playing 71 games, and 4 of them rendered completely invalid without a win or loss. I don't know if this happened to any other people, but for me, I don't know where those 4 games went. It doesn't really matter, as I didn't really finish all of them, but it just kind of just confuses me, as it didn't even come out with an outcome. It didn't give me a win, it didn't give me a loss, and it didn't even give me my game back if it lagged in the first place, so I don't really understand why it would necessarily do that, but yeah. Okay, so I know there's been a lot of actual complaining posts and forums about this, on how bad the Bedwars tournament was and stuff like that, and I guess I'm doing the same thing here. But what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to give some ways to potentially fix it. And one of the first ways to do it is to not really necessarily let the Hypixel kind of team figure out what should happen for a major tournament. Something that could have been done better is getting someone that actually knows pretty much Bedwars inside and out, and a good example of this would be the people that are running the Ranked Bedwars Discord. There are people that were able to make an entire pretty much Ranked Bedwars mode inside of a Discord with 0 extra Hypixel help, and they pretty much know the game inside and out. And some of those people were even able to predict all the problems that I said in this video before it even happened. But getting someone like that, or getting someone that knows the game mode for a future tournament to help, would be a really nice thing, because it would stop things like letting people grab obsidian mid-tournament, or letting people grab water or something like that, and it would cause way less problems in the tournament than what happened in this one. Now, the second way that this could be fixed is something that it's a little bit more controversial, but it would be basically doing a lot less tournaments that are really competitive or really, really PvP based, because that would solve a lot of hacking and boosting and exploiting problems and stuff like that. And also kind of just changing the team modes and stuff like that. Again, like I said earlier, doing some more solo modes would be fine for all the solo players, because I'm more of a solo player, and my party throughout this tournament changed like 20 different times because I was constantly switching parties and trying to find a good one that suits my playstyle and stuff like that. And I don't want to be doing that for every single tournament, and I don't want to do it for the same like Bedwars and Skywars tournaments that they've been doing lately. Like they could be doing tournaments for like all the smaller games and stuff like that. Like how like a lot of people would enjoy like a party games tournament, for example. That would be a lot of fun actually, and not as cheater infested as the Bedwars tournament was. Obviously it's a little bit more controversial, as some people actually really do join these tournaments and stuff like that, but it's having them too repetitive and stuff like that. It just gets way too out of hand, way too messy, and just ends up with problems like this. Now, this third fix right here would fix a lot of the blatant flying hacker problems, as they usually play on alt accounts, and for some reason, there is no network level requirement to be able to play in a competitive tournament on Hypixel. And you might be saying something like, but the tournament like isn't competitive or whatever. Well, technically it is, as some people confirmed that if you're currently banned from Ranked Skywars, which is Hypixel's competitive Skywars mode, you are also banned from the tournament, which technically means that this tournament is a competitive mode on Hypixel, but Ranked Skywars has a network level requirement to be able to get in, but the tournament doesn't. And personally, I think the network level requirement should be pretty high. I'm saying at least above 30. I'm talking 40, 50, maybe even higher if you want to go to it. Because if you genuinely care about Hypixel enough to be able to play in a lot of these tournaments and stuff like that, you should have a decently high network level. And I saw a lot of people, especially in the higher brackets, with really high network levels. So it wouldn't really die down the player count, as a lot of the people that really enjoy Hypixel are playing the tournaments, but people can just go on alt with a network level of 0, join the tournament, and then just fly in it. So having a network level requirement would really stop all of the blatant flying b-hoppers that have just been running around these games, and it would really kind of die down on a lot of the cheater problems here. So yeah, that's pretty much all the ways that I was able to figure out on how to fix this. Personally, I feel like a lot of these things would actually fix the tournament up quite nicely and make sure this really doesn't happen again. Obviously, this is a pretty scuffed tournament, and I feel like if a lot of these were being implemented, especially the last two ones, I feel like this would become like a lot better of an environment to be in, and not less cheater infested and booster infested and all that kind of stuff, and actually could give like an actual competitive environment to Hypixel. And I feel like it would really help a lot of the tournaments out and make sure that something like this really never happens again. But yeah guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a little bit more like a ranting video on the channel, but you know, I was playing this and I genuinely had fun, but I just thought there's a lot of problems with the tournament that I just kind of just wanted to talk about. And I know a couple other people have been talking about this and stuff like that, and for the tweets and the forum posts I used to kind of like help research or whatever, I'll leave those in the description if you want to check those out and possibly learn more about this and stuff like that. I know I've been kind of putting out some different types of content out lately, and it's been doing pretty well, so if you guys are new around here, you know, maybe drop a subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm hoping actual Bedwars video will be coming out soon. Maybe working on a montage as well, who knows. And yeah, if you guys enjoy this type of video and stuff like that, you're new around here, make sure to, you know, like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.